Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Jeff Phillips with Accountingfly. Hope Thursday morning is treating you well. I know it is here in Pensacola, Florida, although we're having kind of a rainy day and everybody has a cold in my family, but including me. So I'm gonna have to battle through that. I want to see if your GoToWebinar control panel is working right. You've got a question panel, a tab you can type questions in. Would you mind typing in just to confirm that you can hear me so I can know that I'm not talking into a blank space here? Hopefully you guys can hear me. So I'm going to wait for a second to make sure I've got a confirmation. Thank you. Thanks. Oh, wow. It's good to see some of you on the call. Thank you. All right, here we go. All right, so cold aside, we're going to talk about seasonal talent and recruiting today. I am glad that you're here. I know that some of you have been in other webinars that I've done or that other folks from Accountingfly have done. Hopefully, how this comes across is like this. We want to build a community. I want to build a community of accounting employers and folks who are in the fight together. It is not easy, is it? It's not easy. If you're in HR, especially, you know the pain of the unrealistic expectations of how long it takes to hire people, especially full-timers, seniors and managers and above. So we're in this together. We're trying to build a company that attracts seniors and managers, and it's not an easy proposition. But with the community, I think one of the benefits is we can work together and we can share best practices. So, and then also say that I hope that you'll chime in through the question panel. Give me some case studies, what's working for you, if you don't mind sharing some stuff. Most of the firms are spread out all over the United States, different sizes, primarily regional firms are on the call, regional and local firms. I don't think there's any big four firms on this. And so if you have questions that you'd like me to tackle, can't promise I know the answer. I know that I will try to answer it or find an answer for you, and maybe the audience has an answer too. So with that being said, our goal is let's put out the very best content around recruiting to recruiters. And if we're not meeting that expectation, let me know. Where did we fall short, or what did you like about it? I'm at jeff@accountingfly.com. So let's talk about seasonal recruiting. A little bit about me. I started out as a recruiter, so I worked in the recruiting space in the software industry when it was really, really tight and hard to hire software engineers. I spent a lot of time at monster.com. My claim to fame at Monster was that I helped H&R Block hire some of their 30,000 tax preparers every tax season by putting together internet media campaigns. So I sure learned a lot of trial and error, and with how to make the internet recruit better people, and how to make job boards work. I've got a lot of opinions about job boards, including that a lot of them don't work. And if we were a job board by ourselves, it wouldn't work either. It's not the job board that is important. It's the things that happen around the job board. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. We founded Accountingfly, my team and I did. There's 9 of us now, and we had that proposition that we wanted to create a new job board model, and we did. It's called inbound recruiting. It's just using good marketing to drive people into a job board. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. And I've got 3 young children. My wife and I had Mally just a few months ago. She's now 4. This is when my children met Mally for the very first time. All right. So I just got feedback that you can't hear me, but Teresa, if you can hear me again, chime back in because everybody else seems to be able to hear. Sometimes on GoToWebinar, the sound will flake out for just a minute and it'll come back by. So you guys keep the comments coming. Hopefully you can hear me. All right. But it usually comes back, and we found it's the best. It's the best. It's the best technology out there. But also, if you can't hear me, if it keeps flaking out, it might be your internet connection. So call in using the. You can expand the audio tab and find the telephone number to call in. All right. Thanks, guys. So, okay. We're going to tackle a tough one today because I think there's a strategy to hire seasonal CPAs now. And I think what we're talking about, what you want to be talking about, is hiring CPAs for tax season. And I think that can break down into two camps, either remote talent or in-house talent. I'm going to tell you right now, remote's going to be a little bit easier. And we're seeing a lot of success hiring remote, but you may not have a policy in place for remote workers. I hope you do, but we can talk about that. If you join my webinars, I'm going to repeat the first part of the webinar probably every time because it's important to tell you what's going on in our labor market. For those of you who are new, this is important information. If you're an administrator, you're a COO, you're an HR, you need to be armed with this information because that's going to help your team. If you're an accountant, it'll help you set realistic expectations about how tough it is to hire. Then I'm going to talk about some principles about recruiting. I'm going to introduce a little bit about Accountingfly and how we address some of these issues. I'm going to give you a to-do list for the remote or in-house seasonal staff. And we are cooking up an offer for if you're not a firm partner to get included on some seasonal recruiting stuff that I think is going to make a big difference. We've learned a lot about recruiting seasonal staff from 3 years in the trenches of this problem. So I'll tell you a little bit about an offer there. I do not want this to be a sales pitch for Accountingfly. If it is, I'm going to lose you. And if you feel like it is, I'd like you to tell me. This is about content, and it's about debate, and it's about where can we find the best practices together. I am going to make an offer at the end. You don't have to stick around if you're not interested. And no hurt feelings if you choose to leave at that point. Okay. So yeah, it's hard to hire accountants. I think you wouldn't be on the webinar if if you didn't agree with that. We know that the AICPA is talking to you firms, those of you who are in firms, and asking you what the issues are, and it's recruiting and retaining. And what's so frustrating is it's not only hard to get the people in the door, okay, especially seniors and managers or supervisors, it's hard to keep them. I keep hearing this horror story where people will hire good college grads. Like, we have no problem with college grads. But we can't keep them. So they go to industry, they take a 30% pay raise, or maybe they go to a bigger firm. That's an uphill battle, but you can get better at retention. It's not really what we're talking about today because we're talking about more of a short game approach to recruiting. But it's tough. And I kind of have a summary of what we're dealing with, and I wonder if you feel the same way. And I'm borrowing this from someone at Deloitte, but the race for talent is over and the talent has won. And we have to accept that. And this won't be the case forever. We know that the top issues facing firms from the issue survey, in 2006 was talent. There was expansion, but then the economy shrank and the top issues really became about sustaining our firm and, not dipping into negative growth. And being able to manage what we have. We didn't have to worry about retention. But then the economy bounced back. And I'd argue that we're going to be dealing with this problem for a very long time because of the demographics of our market. Our market is shaped like an hourglass. We've got a lot of boomers at the top. We have a ton of college students, more college students than we've ever had before graduating with an accounting degree. And then we have this narrow middle of talented managers and talented leaders who are really hard to find. I'm worried that they're losing interest in public accounting a little bit, and I'm worried that there's not a lot of them, and they're attracted to the private industry. But we're working to try to educate them on why regional firms, local firms are such great places to work, and we're making a difference. We had an event just 2 weeks ago called National Meet the Firms Week, which was for young CPAs and students. And 91% who attended the event said because they were at this event of ours, this virtual career fair, they were more likely to want to work for a small firm or stay in a small firm. So that was pretty exciting. And then, the other piece of this issue that we're facing is the candidate pipeline of CPAs. So what's happening here is more college students than ever. And that's great. And you'd think, wow, our profession is heading on the right track. But then they're not sticking around in taking the CPA exam in the numbers that they used to. So we're back down to 2006 numbers of people sitting for the exam. It's a harsh reality, but it explains why it's so darn hard to attract the experienced talent. So how do we do it? How do we do it? And what we found out when we started Accountingfly was just having a job board was not going to do it. Okay. Monster doesn't do it. I was Monster.com's salesperson of the year in our recruitment media team 2007. I get Monster.com. I get Career Builder and Indeed, which I think is better. At least you'll get some volume from Indeed. I get LinkedIn, and some of them are good, some of them are not so good. But it takes a very different approach to hire CPAs. It takes a very different approach to hire seasonal CPAs. So here's my lateral and seasonal CPA hiring checklist. I'm happy to send this off to anybody. You can just email me at the end of the webinar, jeff@accountingfly.com. You're going to have to pay for the talent, okay? You don't want to lose out on a seasonal CPA because of price. That's a fact, and it's an unfortunate fact. I would set expectations with your partners, and you partners out there, I want to set expectations with you right now. This is not going to be easy. We are in early November, and the year flies by from here. It's possible, it's doable. I'm gonna give you a plan, but it is tough. No matter what, you should respond to every candidate, and I'm going to ask you to respond to every candidate within an hour of them applying to you. Yeah, that's tough. And I've done it. I'm guilty of ignoring candidates. And if they're a lousy candidate, they're not a fit at all. That's probably, it's okay. It's forgivable if you don't respond to them. But they may know somebody. If they're a CPA, hey, you're not a fit, but they're probably not going to respond. They're not going to respond to you if you turn them down and ask for a referral. But I'd be willing to, honestly. If they're a decent candidate, they're shopping. And we have heard a lot of stories of clients on Accountingfly who get a good candidate. They wait too long to respond, and by too long I mean like a couple of days, and the candidate's off the market. So yeah, they have all the leverage in this. Respond quickly, okay? Even for seasonal talent, you're going to want to onboard very well because the seasonal talent could turn into a long-term hire, or they may not. But you sure don't want them to leave. Tax season is too rough to have somebody quit. And I know people don't typically quit, but onboarding determines the strength of the performance. You want to learn how to onboard well? Talk to Sandra Wiley. Talk to Rita Keller. Read Bruce Tolgan's book, It's Okay to Be the Boss. Bruce is a best-selling author. He just spoke, I know, at the DFK annual meeting in the Grand Caymans. I wish I was there. And Bruce is fantastic because he writes these small books that are easy to digest, and it's really good, just brass tacks about how to get a good person and integrate them into a team. Get them inside the team. I know that teams of accountants sometimes will not socialize or embrace a new team member unless it's forced to happen. Force it to happen. If you're lucky enough to get somebody that's good, get them out for a happy hour, get them out together for lunch multiple times. You got to integrate these people into the team. I know that sounds so basic, but I meet with firms on a daily basis, literally a daily basis, who's not getting that right, and that's important. And I know most people do get the onboarding right, but it's worth mentioning. Understand the audience. For those of you who are on our other sessions, we talk a lot about the preferences and the interests of millennial accountants. We're not going to talk about that today. We do have recordings of all of our old sessions. I'm going to give you 5 questions that I think it's very important for you to answer, and so that every job posting, your website, your job descriptions, even your talking points in an interview carry these 5 points, these 5 questions, these 5 answers. Why do we have you answer them? Because we went out and asked young accountants what they're looking for in an employer, and it boils down to 5 questions. I'm going to show you them, and I want you to start thinking about articulating your value proposition as a brand. This is a sales presentation when you're interviewing somebody. People don't realize it, but a job posting is a sales presentation. An interview for you is a sales presentation to the candidate. And yes, it goes both ways, but are you prepared? I see too many job descriptions that come on to Accountingfly that are stale, they're tired, they're boring, they're not interesting, they don't explain what it is about your organization that's special. And guess what? With so many choices, with so many options for employment, you're missing a golden opportunity. And so people call us and say, hey, nobody's applying. And then we look at the job postings and it's just a list of requirements and a list of expectations. We have job postings. We write our firm partners job postings, and you know what we do? If they're not getting results, we rewrite them and we keep working. But we have a formula that is showing between 10 and 30 times better results than when an accounting firm writes it. And we should be good at that. That's what we're good at, and we're not good at doing taxes or performing audits. That's something we're strong at. So the 5 questions are important, and you want to distribute those the answers to those multiple ways. You need to use content to influence job seekers. So our model is that it's a lot more about content than it is about having a job board. Posting and praying, it no longer works in accounting. It's over. And you have to use content to influence people to apply, and I'll show you why. And you got to distribute across multiple platforms. And I'm going to make the case that you should not just use Accountingfly. It's too tough just to use Accountingfly. We should be a primary source, but there's other stuff that you need to be working with. It's that tough out there. Okay. This is a point I want to make very clearly, and some of you have seen this before. I'll give you a chance to read it. So ERE, Electronic Recruiting Exchange, they're gurus in online recruitment. And they came out with a study about what does it take to use electronic recruiting or online recruiting to hire senior people. And senior is like, hey, it's easy to hire a college student, but what about people who are experienced? And what they found was the more senior the applicant, the more they were affected by content. And what I mean by that is the more they saw content that you produced that was helpful advice, that was interesting news, that was good blog posts, and I'll give you examples of content in a moment, but the more they saw content with your name in it, the more likely they were to apply to a job posting with your name on it. In other words, posting and praying doesn't work, but job boards are useful and postings on your website are useful if you're putting out information into the world that's useful to other people. And that can be in the form of video, that can be in the form of blog posts, it can be in the form of advice on social media. And yeah, I know we're talking about an urgent need to hire seasonal talent, and tax season is only a few months away. And I'm telling you, to find people and to draw them out, it's going to take some effort when it comes to content. So we're a job board. We have job postings. Some of them get lots of applicants. Some of the postings get few applicants. We tend to have a lot more applicants, and we certainly have better applicants when we have content that we produce for our clients. So one thing we do is we produce videos with our clients, 10-minute interviews where I ask literally the 5 questions. And then we publish. Now what we're doing is taking these videos and putting them on Facebook into the news feeds of CPAs in Sikich's case in Chicago and Indiana. All right, so this isn't an interview that it's necessarily a straight up Sikich commercial. It's me asking some serious questions that job seekers want to know. And I think that's the difference between a sales pitch and content is useful information in a lot of different forms. So blog posts. Charlie Osaki is one of our favorite people in the accounting industry, and he's with a firm in LA. He kept a blog. He's a partner in an accounting firm and kept a blog just for recruitment advice for accountants and published something weekly. And you could do that too. You just probably could. You could even pay somebody to do it. You could pay a ghostwriter to do it. But the firm Charlie used to work for, which is called RBZ and is now acquired by another firm, is was really good at attracting talent in Los Angeles because one of the things they did well was produce good content. You can hire people to produce infographics of news that you find or surveys that you do of accountants. Um, Good images on your website that are not stock photography. And yeah, that's a long-term thing, and that's not going to affect seasonal right now, but that's going to make a difference. How you position yourself on Accountingfly is important, and your own website is utterly critical. So any those are examples of content. Now let's get down to like the 5 questions of what every communication is going to have to answer. Why work in our size firm? What we have found about firm size is profound. And what is profound about it is that people come out of college not knowing about the mid market on a whole. I'll give you a perfect example. I met a young accountant who was going to Ernst& Young or EY, and I think she's going in Washington, D.C. She graduated from the University of Maryland. I know there's some Maryland, D.C. area firms on this call. And I asked her, did you interview with any local firms? She said no. I said, did any small firms recruit at the University of Maryland when you were there? And she said, yes, one small firm did, and it was Cohn Resnick. And I thought, my goodness, your perception of regional and local firms is the number 8 largest firm in the country. There's such a difference, and even such a difference in the value proposition of a 20 partner firm or a 5 partner firm than a top 10 firm with 200 partners, 300 partners. So why work in our size firm should be the opening salvo to every communication on your website, in your job descriptions, using words that describe the culture. What does your firm stand for? In other words, what are its values? And the millennials will tell you, and the talent will tell you that those values must be clear and they must be displayed. When they enter your organization as a seasonal hire, if they're not seeing the values being lived out by the team, they're going to have a problem with that. If you're making a full-time hire, they're going to leave. They won't stay. They're going to switch jobs. Why should you trust your career to our firm? And yes, that doesn't really align with a seasonal hire. However, it's important that you're promoting what's so great about this organization that you would want to be a part of it even for a tax season. What does the future look like if you're effective? So in this case, what's going to happen when this consulting project is over? Is there going to be a job opportunity for a high performer? I would hope so, given the struggles we have. But a lot of seasonal talent is in is seasonal for a reason. You don't need to fill that full-time position. But man, what an opportunity to have a network of high performers to bring them in and out for seasonal opportunities. And what's our culture like? What's this tax season going to be like? And how is our culture going to embrace that? What will it feel like working here during a very busy time? I think it's important if you can control the copy that's on your website that you are answering these questions and putting it in the context of seasonal on your website. I think you should have a section on your site, and definitely you're posting jobs. That's something you can control fairly easily, but it would be nice to have a section just for seasonal talent because this is a big part of what we're all doing year in and year out. But your website is the sales pitch when you, the recruiter, are not present. And we've seen too many times candidates call me and we say, hey, well, this is a good firm. You should check them out. They'll go to the website and they'll get turned off. Maybe the job wasn't there. Maybe there weren't any job postings there, or there weren't, these 5 questions were not answered, etc. Okay. So this is a frustrating subject for a lot of us because a lot of firms are not keeping up with good websites, and that's to the detriment for developing business, but it's also to the detriment of recruiting great people. We call it the 3 a.m. test. Somebody's going to move to your city, and they look at your site, and what do they see? Are they going to be moved by what's there to apply, or will they be moved to look somewhere else? But what you can do in the short term, I feel like, is make sure the jobs are posted. Make sure you have a call out on your careers homepage about seasonal opportunities, and you have a nice link for like, hey, we're hiring for tax season, for example, click here and here's a list of the jobs that we're hiring for. Maybe even if there's a way to showcase that job to get it out in front, I think that's going to help too. Um, yeah, so this is social media. I think you should be leveraging Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn for seasonal job recruiting. I kind of messed this up. The list of the accounting jobs and job seekers is on the next slide, so I kind of botched this one. But so number one is Facebook. Not only can you talk about your seasonal opening in Facebook for for very little money, you can put that posting in the news feed of CPAs in your city. It's called a sponsored post. We do this. We do this for clients, but you could do this too. You could do this right now. And Facebook is most effective if you use images. Twitter is most effective if you use images. Cross Fernandez and Riley did a good job with this with a couple of their posts. This is an interesting subject when it comes to internet marketing, but Facebook and Google are the two top sources of traffic to any website. And I'm sure you knew that Google was, but you probably didn't know that Facebook was. But they have 1.3 billion users worldwide. And there's some interesting contextual targeting they can do. You can run a post about your seasonal, have a link to your job posting, and buy targeted ad impressions so that shows up in the news feed of CPAs. You can choose accountants and you can choose Orlando, Florida, and you're doing it. So now you just got out of a job posting, you just got out of your, hoping somebody comes to your website, and you're starting to build a little bit of an impression. And what's great about like a seasonal position is this is something you can try out. The timing's right. People are looking for seasonals. You're looking to hire. So see if that can't work to make a connection. But I would encourage you to make this a part of your strategy ongoing. What about LinkedIn? I hope Jenna doesn't mind me picking on her. But so these are 4 groups within LinkedIn that have tens of thousands of people who are looking for accounting jobs. These are all 4 different groups. For free, you can join these groups and post your open opportunities. It's a long shot, but you never know. This is something I would try because, I think philosophically, going back to the beginning of this conversation, we have to try a lot of stuff to make this work right now. And the thing I would do is post these jobs in these groups, and then post the job and ask everyone in your team to share it. And a lot of you have heard me say that before, but this is a valuable LinkedIn use because it's free. But you can do a post about your job on your firm's page or on on your page, and it links to the apply page back on your website or an email address for the resume. And then you send an email out to every single person in your organization and have them share that LinkedIn post. All of a sudden now your job posting just got in front of tens of thousands of people because everybody posted it. Not a bad idea too to have your team, the team at your firm, change their email. What is it called? Your email signature. And it says, we are hiring seasonal CPAs. Click here to learn more. And it can go to your Accountingfly job posting or to the website or wherever. Because think about how many emails your firm sends to clients and to other firms and to people in the community. So with a little bit of coordination, you're now getting the word out with multipliers. LinkedIn is a multiplier. Facebook is a multiplier. Email is a multiplier. I got an email from a guy at a company called Zen Payroll the other day, and in his signature said, we were voted the #1 best place to work in San Francisco. And I remember that because that was an important statement, and it said apply here or something like that. It's funny how those little things can add up. A little bit about how Accountingfly fits in this picture. So we are a job board, which is the destination of a lot of other marketing services like videos, like our events, like Meet the Firms Week, like webinars. And we teach CPAs about employment opportunities. We teach CPAs about what kind of firms they should want to work at, what kind of firms they won't want to work at. And so that content drives a lot of traffic. Every job posting gets 20,000 impressions roughly per month, and yet it's still hard to get applicants for senior associates and managers. Not as much, maybe not so much as senior, seasonal, because it's the timing is right. But that content strategy for us has grown our traffic significantly in 15 months. We believe that quality applicants will react to quality content, and a job board is merely just a landing page where a transaction takes place. And that transaction for us is very simple. Most firm or corporation websites, when they want to process a new applicant, they ask, on average, 28 questions. Guess who doesn't want to answer 28 questions? Every job applicant ever. So what we changed on our site, because we learned this lesson the hard way, is that if you're an applicant, just drop a resume with this client. That's it. Give us an email address and drop a resume, and then you can we'll pass. Then you, as the employer, get notified that resume is there. And hey, if you have a applicant that turns into a serious applicant, then you can let them fill out a long form application. I wouldn't ask a client when they were just interested in working with Accountingfly to fill out a 28 question application just for a sales call. And that's what we're doing with applicants. So a lot of you have just have an email link on your website, and so that's useful too. And I would prefer to have that than a long form. We believe that Recruit 365 is the way to go, at least in this job market, and that means recruit all year long. Even if you're not hiring, you put on your job postings, we're always willing to talk to good people. Even if we're not hiring right now, we want to talk to you, because you never know when somebody great falls in your lap, you got to hire them. So you can't control when good people are looking for a job. What you can control is putting content out in front of passive job seekers in hopes that it might get their interest. And you can control being online and in these different areas with recruiting, with job postings, for when they want to change jobs. They want to move to Rockville, Maryland, or Pensacola, Florida. And we offer an applicant tracking system that sort of sits in the middle of this, so that you can keep all your applicants forever, and you don't have to manage applicants. It's sort of automated, and I can talk more about that in a minute. For job boards, landing pages, the job postings are merely landing pages for your applicants. They're just places where we can put content. What we try to do is go out into the world and drive people into your job postings. Your profile tells your story. We allow firms to have images that explain a little bit about the culture. You know, here's the ultimate Frisbee team, I guess, from Travis Wolf. And then how you write job postings is everything. And so we now take over job posting writing for our clients, because we're seeing that when we follow our formula, and which we continually tweak, then we have higher results, because we also put cross-post jobs on Indeed.com and Juju.com, on Jobs to Careers, so the three largest job networks on the internet. One of the things that we do, I think, really well is webinars for CPAs. And so we talk about our open jobs with our clients by city. So like we recently had the top public accounting jobs in Chicago. And I give advice on job search, and then I tell them about some of our firm partners that we're working with. And one of the things we're going to do at the first week of December is we're going to have a webinar just for seasonal CPA. So finding seasonal CPA jobs, and our firm partners who have jobs on our site with seasonal opportunities, we're actually going to send out links to those jobs to the audience. We'll probably have 300 or 400 people on that webinar. And so it's going to be a nice connection point. Okay, so I'm going to pause for 1 second, because I've had a couple questions come in before we kind of just like to-do list, checklist type stuff. All right, cool. All right, so the question I got was there CPE? And so this is not a CPE webinar. We're not going to be doing polling questions, or not CPE. Okay, so what can you do now? What we can do now is post a job, and I've got a strategy for if these jobs are remote or if they are not remote. All right, and if they're remote, I would post them on sites like Accountingfly in every city in your state. Because Accountingfly works like this, you can post unlimited jobs, so it really doesn't matter. We have a client who's hiring a remote person a remote person. They prefer them to be in California, so they posted in every city in California. They're getting a lot of applicants that way. So if it's a remote virtual, cast that wide net. You don't need to worry about the how much money a job posting costs. If it's on site, yeah, I would post. You need to post that job ASAP. Where to post? So Accountingfly is sort of you hit three birds with one stone. You get on Accountingfly, and we've got about 15,000 accounting job seekers every month. Then you get Indeed, which is targeted to their accounting job seekers. Juju.com, which is the number 3 job seeker destination, and then a site called Jobs to Careers. So all told, those 3 job sites have about 50 million a month job seekers. Now that's across every different type of job, but they're big time primary applicant drivers for accountants. But you got to know how to game them right, and that comes down to like writing good job posting copy and writing really good job titles. So you might ask us, "Hey, I've got this title. We're hiring somebody called a seasonal CPA, something something," and we might say, "Well, look, Indeed is telling us that what's getting results right now is a title called seasonal tax accountant. So we're going to want to run that." But again, if it's virtual, cast that wide net. If it's local, that may not work as well. Um, Run the LinkedIn posts, but try to make it more content focused. So it would be interesting if you ran a LinkedIn post that people wanted to read. And inside that, there was information about your seasonal job opportunity or what makes your firm great as well. And that might be like a conversation with maybe you had a previous seasonal turned into a full-time hire. Write a quick post about how they got a hire by being a seasonal CPA and how it was such a great experience. And hey, we're hiring now. Here's a link to that. That's what we're seeing a lot of people doing on LinkedIn is very successful. It's one thing to just post the job. It's another thing to write some compelling copy about what makes that job interesting, what makes your firm interesting. Um, Hopefully that makes sense. Post the job in those LinkedIn groups. I mean, all told, there's hundreds of thousands of accountants who are in these groups that goes directly into their email, and they tend to see these postings. It's a little bit of a long shot, but I think it could be super useful. Post it on Facebook, buy the sponsored ads, post it on Twitter, and ask your contacts to share these things. When you post it on LinkedIn, ask your firm to share them. And I would adding the signature, your email signature as well. I think you should email your job description to all the accounting professors in your area as well. We once did a survey of experienced CPAs and asked them where they were finding jobs. And their college professors was in the top 5. So I was shocked by that, frankly, but it makes some sense, especially like they're relocating. They tend to call their college professors. No professor is going to be upset if you send them a job description and say, "Hey, we're hiring. We're a great local firm," especially if you have a relationship with them, which goes back to one of our other best practices, which is invest in some of your local schools. Maybe not the ones that the Big Fours dominate, all right, but there's others that you could teach classes at, and that starts to build a pipeline of talent now and in the future. Okay, so I'm going to offer what we think is a plan for seasonal help, how we can help you. Hopefully, everything up to this point has been useful to you, and I ask you to let me know if it's not, and then I'd love to take some questions. This is how we're going to approach seasonal hiring for this tax season. What it looks like is this: so our primary way of doing business is employers sign up as what we call firm partners, and that's an annual subscription where you receive unlimited job postings. Okay, and we produce a recruitment video, which we advertise on Facebook, and that video can be more of a branding. Here's an introduction to the firm, answering the 5 questions, etc. We write your postings for you, and we turn these around really quick. We signed up 4 firm partners last week, and their postings were live, and we posted them. I mean, Monster doesn't do that, right? We post the jobs for you. We're going to do a webinar, like I said earlier, on Thursday, 12 the 3rd. Sorry, that was a brain glitch. On Thursday, December the 3rd, so roughly a month out. And we're going to bring together a group of seasonal CPA job seekers. Okay, we average on these, we average somewhere between 200 and 300. And we're going to give a link to a listing of all of the seasonal jobs on our site, so you can search by location. And I think this is going to be a nice way to drive traffic. Of course, your postings will also drive traffic because of the job boards we go to, etc. Then for your seasonal jobs, we're going to spend some of the budget on Google AdWord ads. So Google is a huge traffic driver, obviously, and we're pretty good at putting ads in front of job seekers on Google. 500 million job searches a month on Google. So if you're searching for a seasonal CPA job in Pensacola, we're going to put, the ad for Saltmarsh, the CPA firm here, in front of you. That will lead you to the Accountingfly posting. And so we're going to be a support team for you on seasonal jobs, but then we get to do it together all of 2016 as well for whatever experienced jobs you have, and your college recruiting jobs too. I don't really like to have an offer like this on a webinar, because I want people to join for the content. I felt pretty convicted to offer this because we had a high response, which told me that it was a pretty big need. If you're interested in this, great. If you're not, no big deal. You can email me, jeff@accountingfly.com, for more info. I might have our head of market strategy, Judy Shriver, follow up with you. It may not be me, but one of us will get back in touch with you with more information. We can very quickly determine if we think that this would work. Sometimes it doesn't. Very quickly determine if it's a fit, and then the decision will be completely up to you if you want to get started. Those firm partnerships start at about $3,000 per year. It does depend on just how many hires you tend to make, because we spend a lot of your fees on advertising for those jobs all year long. Okay, so email me if you have questions about the slides. If you'd like to get the slides in your hands, no problem. I may not get to you with those slides during the day, but I'll certainly get them to you at night. And yeah, so let's get some seasonal hiring done. So I wanted to go through that checklist one more time, and I'm gonna check any questions. All right, great. So remember, pay top dollar. Set expectations, or if you're a partner, I'm gonna set expectations. This is not going to be easy. We are in the fight with you, literally. We literally are in the same exact fight as our clients, because it's not easy to attract these folks. We think we're getting some good results attracting them. Get strong onboarding, integrate the seasonal hire into the team. Answer those 5 questions. I hope that if nothing else you take away, you will do some electronic advertising, online advertising, but leverage the 5 questions. That's going to attract the right people, repel the wrong people. And then use your copy in your the job postings, the copy on your website, your talking points in interviews should be guided by those 5 questions. Think about developing content, or let us develop the content for you, the video content, participating in that webinar and future webinars. We have clients who have expertise in certain areas, like car dealership accounting, and we'll do webinars just featuring our clients and bring in CPAs from across the country to try to attract specialty talent into the firm. You're going to have to distribute your message across a super wide platform online where the talent is. And yeah, I know job boards traditionally don't work for recruiting accountants. We agree with you, but we know what has been proven to work. And we know that we have happy clients because they see this too. But the combination of good job board marketing, good ad writing, and good content, those things combine well to attract applicants. Okay. All right. How long did this take? 45 minutes. This is all I'd ask you to do. Send me an email. Give me feedback. through the through this. Oh yeah, will you please put the 5 questions up on the screen? Give me a second, and I will get right to that. Sorry, guys, but I wanted to get this back up here. So here's the 5 questions back on the screen. Thanks, Lisa, for the question. As folks, this is sort of the end of the presentation. So if you feel free to drop if you want to stick around and ask questions. I'm gonna hang tight for a few more minutes. This is all I'd ask. Give me feedback. Are we doing a good job coaching? Are we doing a good job with content, or is this a waste of time? Where does it fit with you? My intention is to keep doing this. We do these every single month, and we want to get better and better and better at them. So please let us know if you think this is solid. And I'll send out my email address here through the chat if you would like to follow up with me, Jeff at accountingfly.com. All right. Hey, thanks for being here. Good luck out there. Call us whether you want to work with us, or call us if you just want to bang around some ideas. It ain't easy, okay? It is possible. Got to think a little bit differently. Got to try some different stuff, and then you got to keep trying because it's not a perfect science, and you can do it. We see it happening every single day with clients and with non-clients too. So keep trying, keep banging away out there, and it's going to work out. I'm going to leave this slide up for 5 minutes, but I'm going to end the presentation, and email me. Let me know what you think. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and I really appreciate you having us. Bye-bye.